All right, get ready to dive deep into Kung Fu Hustle.
Oh, yeah.
We're going way beyond just the fight scenes today.
Okay.
We're going to explore what the movie says about superheroes and how Hong Kong action movies do their own thing.
Interesting.
But we're working with some excerpts from a paper called Kung Fu Hustle 2024, The Contradictory Superheroes and Cinematographic Approaches.
All right.
Ready to see how they twist the whole superhero thing and use visuals to make the action so memorable.
Absolutely. One of the first things that stands out about Kung Fu Hustle is it's like they threw the typical superhero stuff right out.
Yeah, these aren't your typical capes crusaders.
Exactly. Instead of superpowered people right from the start, we meet ordinary folks in Pigsty Alley, this rundown slum.
Oh, yeah.
You've got like the landlord who seems all mild-mannered, but he's secretly a Tai Chi master.
Well,
Or the tailor. Nobody would suspect he's deadly with iron rings. And then you have the baker, his weapon of choice. Wooden sticks.
that's brilliant. I love it.
The thing is, they blend right in. Their abilities are totally hidden until they absolutely need them.
Yeah.
It's what the paper calls a containment strategy. They're intentionally hiding their powers, so it keeps things feeling normal.
And surprising. Makes you wonder if there are secret kung fu masters all around us.
Right, but here's the thing. It's not just about hidden heroes.
Yeah.
These characters aren't exactly perfect little angels either.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
Yeah. We're not dealing with pure goody-goodies here. Kung Fu Hustle is full of anti-heroes. Characters who don't fit neatly into good or bad. They might have good intentions in the end,
Yeah.
but their methods, well, let's just say they're questionable.
Like Singh, our main guy. He starts out as a small-time crook, a bully, even trying to scam a little girl at an ice cream stand.
Oh, yeah.
Not exactly hero material. Then there's the landlord. He lets his wife totally dominate him, enforces all her ridiculous rules.
Huh.
So how do these flawed characters end up as the heroes of the story?
Well, that's the cool part. Kung Fu Hustle shows us that being a hero doesn't require being perfect. These characters, they're messy, they make mistakes, they even act selfishly sometimes, but when it matters most, they step up.
I like that.
Their imperfections actually make them more relatable, don't you think?
Absolutely. It's like they're battling their own weaknesses at the same time they're fighting external threats. And speaking of complex characters, can't forget the landlady. She's tough, she's mean, she completely shatters the idea of what a powerful woman should be.
Right. She's a total subversion of expectations. You rarely see an action heroine in curlers and pajamas with a cigarette hanging out of her mouth.
And her superpower is just as unexpected.
Yeah.
A powerful voice,
Yeah.
symbolized by her chest inflating like a balloon.
Oh, yeah. It's this wild mix of a harsh personality with a strangely feminine power. What do you think the filmmakers were going for there?
It's a fascinating choice. It definitely makes you question those typical portrayals of powerful women.
Right. On the surface, she's like a stereotypical masculine type, domineering, aggressive.
Yeah.
But then her power comes from something traditionally associated with femininity. It makes her character so much more complex. Like it's saying true power goes beyond simple categories.
Now let's talk about the action in Kung Fu Hustle. Visually, it's stunning.
Classic Hong Kong action cinema.
It has a totally unique style.
Yeah.
What sets it apart from, let's say, Hollywood action movies?
Well, Hong Kong action cinema, it's known for its raw energy and a visual style that emphasizes impact.
Yeah.
You've got dramatic music, over-the-top sound effects, rapid cuts, and wide shots that show off the whole fight choreography.
Oh, yeah, like that fight with the blind assassins. The way they blend the traditional Chinese music with the sounds of those zither-like weapons. And the camera pulls back so you see the whole chaotic ballet.
Amazing.
It's breathtaking.
And then right when you're focused on the wide shot, they switch to close-ups.
Yep.
They exaggerate the action and highlight how physical the fight is.
Like they want us to feel every punch in every block.
Exactly. Think about when the toad-like assassin expands his throat, getting ready to attack.
Yeah.
Or the close-up on the landlady's chest as she inhales to unleash that scream. It's over the top.
Definitely.
But it perfectly captures the heightened reality of Kung Fu Hustle's world. Do those visuals enhance the emotional impact of the scene?
Absolutely. They draw you right in.
Yeah.
Make you feel like you're part of the action.
And then there's the pacing.
Right.
Hong Kong action cinema uses this pause, burst, pause pattern. Intense action followed by moments of stillness.
Yeah.
Creates this unique rhythm and keeps you on the edge of your seat.
Like a roller coaster with those sudden drops.
Exactly. It's in that fight between the toad assassin, the landlady, and the landlord.
Oh, yeah.
The landlady pauses. The assassin begs for mercy. And bam! He attacks again when her guard is down.
Oh, wow.
They play with our expectations. The action is unpredictable, keeps you totally engaged.
It's like they're saying, don't even blink. You might miss something amazing.
Yeah.
It's so cool how they use that pause versus pause thing. Like they're messing with time itself, stretching out those moments before all the crazy action happens.
Yeah. It makes even simple stuff like a character getting hit feel so much more intense. Instead of just falling down, they get sent flying through walls, crashing into things.
Right.
It's all about maximizing that visual impact, even in those brief moments of quiet. But remember, this movie isn't just about how cool it looks.
Yeah.
It's also about flawed characters finding strength.
We were talking about those unconventional heroes before, how their flaws actually make them more interesting. Makes you wonder if their flaws are what make them so relatable to the audience.
That's a great point. It's something the academic paper digs into. These aren't those flawless, morally superior heroes we see so much in Western movies.
Yeah.
They're messy, they make mistakes, they can be selfish, but when it really matters, they rise to the occasion.
So it's not about being perfect, but about overcoming your imperfections to achieve something bigger. I like that.
It's a much more human and grounded take on the superhero idea. It also reflects a different cultural context.
How so?
Well, in a lot of Eastern philosophies, good and evil aren't seen as separate forces. They're two sides of the same coin.
Ah, I see.
Everyone has the potential for both. True strength comes from accepting that.
That's a really interesting perspective.
Yeah.
It makes you rethink the characters in Kung Fu Hustle.
Right.
You don't see them as simply good or bad, but as complex people dealing with that gray area.
Exactly. Now, when we talk about relatable heroes, we can't forget Singh. He goes through such a huge transformation in the movie.
Oh, yeah, he starts out as this wannabe gangster, so desperate for recognition he'll do anything,
Yep.
even petty crime and bullying.
Right. And then he gets a major reality check when he tries to unleash the beast, thinking it'll make him look tough.
But instead he unleashes total chaos, almost destroys everything.
It's like that classic saying, be careful what you wish for.
Uh-huh, right? But it's a turning point for him.
Absolutely. Facing the consequences of what he did forces Singh to confront his own messed up nature.
Yeah.
It sets him on a path to redemption. It's a powerful example of personal growth.
Almost like meeting the beast awakens something in him, both literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
He finds out he has the potential for good, a potential he never even knew was there.
And it's not just an internal change either. Notice how Singh's fighting style changes as he grows. His movements get smoother, more powerful.
Oh yeah, like a mirror of his transformation on the inside.
Exactly. By the end, he's fighting with these bursts of energy and leaping like he defies gravity.
Like he's tapped into some hidden power source.
It reinforces the idea that he's become someone new, embracing his destiny flaws and all. And while we're talking about visuals, the way they exaggerate things in those fight scenes is amazing.
It's not just about spectacle though, right?
No, there's real art to it.
Those movements, the sound effects, the characters flying everywhere, it adds to the emotional impact of the action.
For sure. They're pushing the boundaries of what's physically possible, but they're expressing the character's inner strength and determination.
It's like this super energetic dance, beautifully choreographed.
And it takes so much skill, from the actors to the stunt people to the filmmakers.
Absolutely. Before we get too lost in those amazing fight scenes, though, I want to shift gears for a sec. We've talked a lot about the heroes, but what about the villains? They're pretty colorful and over the top, too.
Oh, yeah. The villains in Kung Fu Hustle are crucial to why it's so entertaining and makes you think.
Okay.
They're not just roadblocks for the heroes. They have their own depth and motivations.
Like the Axe Gang. At first, they seem like this totally ruthless, evil force, almost cartoonish.
Right. But then you get those glimpses of vulnerability.
Yeah, like that scene where the Axe Gang leader is getting a shave and he's super nervous.
It humanizes him.
Yep.
Reminds you that even the toughest criminals have fears and insecurities.
Makes the whole conflict more nuanced.
Definitely. It's not just good guys versus bad guys. It's two sides clashing, each with their own strengths and weaknesses.
You almost find yourself rooting for both sides.
I agree. You want the heroes to win, but you understand where the villains are coming from. It makes the ending so much more satisfying. Speaking of which, can we talk about the Beast?
The Beast.
Yeah.
He's terrifying and so powerful, but you kind of feel bad for him. There's this sadness about him.
For sure, he's like a force of nature, but also this lonely, misunderstood soul.
That part where he begs for mercy from the landlady and then attacks her again,
Yeah.
it's hilarious and kind of heartbreaking.
It perfectly captures how Kung Fu Hustle blends humor and sadness so well.
And that ties back into the theme of duality, right?
Mm.
Good and evil, strength and weakness, Humor and tragedy, all mixed together.
Exactly. Kung Fu Hustle embraces that complexity. It reminds you that life is messy and there aren't always easy answers. I think that's what makes it such a captivating film.
So if you had to sum up the legacy of Kung Fu Hustle in one sentence, what would it be?
That's tough. But I'd say it's a movie that shows us heroism can be found in unexpected places, and that even people with flaws can achieve great things.
I love that. It celebrates the underdog, the power of community, and how the human spirit can transform.
And it does it all with a great mix of action, humor, and visual spectacle.
It's a cinematic masterpiece for sure. To all our listeners, if you haven't seen Kung Fu Hustle, you gotta check it out. And if you have seen it, watch it again with fresh eyes. Think about everything we've talked about today.
You might be surprised by what you notice.
It's amazing how they managed to put so much heart and humor into a movie with such crazy action.
Yeah, it's a great balance.
Makes you want to watch it again and again.
Yeah.
We were talking about the villains earlier. I'm really curious to get your take on their role in the film.
Well, the villains in Kung Fu Hustle are a huge part of what makes it so engaging.
Yeah.
They're not just obstacles for the good guys. They represent these different forces and ideas. So the conflict has more meaning.
So it's more like a clash of worldviews than just a fight.
Exactly. Like, take the Axe Gang.
Yeah.
They're all about brutality and chaos. A real threat to the peace in Pigsty Alley.
But even the Axe Gang, as brutal as they are, they have those moments where you see their human side.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like when their leader's getting a shave and he's totally scared.
That scene is great. It breaks down that stereotypical villain image, shows us that even the toughest bad guys have weaknesses.
Right. Everyone has fears.
It reminds us that nobody is pure evil. Everyone's got layers.
It adds so much depth to the conflict.
Totally. It's not just a simple good versus evil story.
Yeah.
It's about understanding both sides, even the ones we might see as villains at first.
And speaking of complex villains,
Uh,
we have to talk about the Beast.
oh yeah, he's a force of nature, terrifying, powerful.
But there's also something kind of tragic about him.
He represents raw power and instinct, but he's also a victim controlled by others.
That scene where he begs the landlady for mercy and then attacks her is perfect. That mix of humor and sadness that Kung Fu Hustle does so well.
It's brilliant. You laugh, but then you also feel for him. He's just a pawn in this bigger game. It shows how the movie can make you feel so many things, even for the bad guys.
So we've covered the heroes, the amazing visuals, the villains, the deeper themes. What do you think is the biggest takeaway for viewers? What makes this movie stick with you?
I think Kung Fu Hustle shows us that greatness can come from anywhere.
Yeah.
It's about everyday people who discover their own strength, they embrace their flaws, and they find their own way to be heroes.
And it tells that story in such a fun and exciting way, with action, humor, and heart.
It's a movie that celebrates those who don't fit in, the power of community, and how we can all change for the better.
It's a masterpiece, no doubt about it.
Good.
It goes beyond cultures and keeps resonating with people all over the world.
Absolutely.
If you haven't seen Kung Fu Hustle, go watch it.
Yeah.
And if you have, watch it again. Think about all the things we've talked about.
Yeah, you'll notice so much more.
That wraps up our deep dive into Kung Fu Hustle. We hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.